Have you ever noticed how certain men seem to radiate confidence without even saying a word? They walk into a room and people look, not because they're loud, not because they're flashy, but because there's something powerful about their presence, something unshakable, calm, and deeply masculine. That presence often comes from within, and one of the greatest untapped sources of that inner power is semen retention. You see, most people treat semen like it's nothing, like it's just a fluid to be released and forgotten. But biologically, semen is one of the most energy-dense substances your body produces. It contains proteins, vitamins, minerals, enzymes, and most importantly, your body's life force. It takes a tremendous amount of energy to create. And every time you release it mindlessly, you're not just losing fluid, you're giving away your power. When you start practicing semen retention, something changes. At first, it's subtle. You have more physical energy. You wake up more alert. You stop feeling drained. But over time, those benefits compound. You walk differently. You speak with more conviction. Your eyes start to glow with purpose. That's because the energy you used to waste is now being redirected back into you. Your body doesn't throw it away, it recycles it, fueling your brain, your muscles, your hormones, and even your spirit. And one of the biggest shifts, your testosterone. Research shows that retaining your semen can lead to increased testosterone levels, especially after a week or more. And what is testosterone? It's the hormone of drive, aggression, assertiveness, and confidence. It's what makes a man feel like a man. When your testosterone is low, you second-guess yourself. You feel weak. You're anxious. But when it's high, you feel like you can take on the world. You don't chase, you lead. You don't ask for permission, you take action. But semen retention isn't just about biology, it's about psychology. Every time you choose not to give in to your urges, you strengthen your willpower. You tell yourself, I am in control. And that mindset is the root of confidence. Because real confidence isn't just about having muscles or money, it is about knowing you can trust yourself, that when life gets tough, you won't fold. You'll face it, head on, with discipline and clarity. The truth is, ejaculation, especially when tied to porn or compulsive habits, leaves you empty. It makes you feel weak, numb, disconnected from your purpose. You get stuck in a cycle of pleasure and shame, quick highs followed by deep lows. But when you start retaining, you begin to break that cycle. You no longer live for momentary pleasure, you start living for long-term power. Suddenly your mind becomes clearer, your emotions become stable. You stop reacting and start responding. You stop chasing meaningless highs and begin building meaningful goals. And from that, confidence naturally arises. Because now, your energy isn't being scattered. It's being focused. It's being aimed. And people can feel that. You carry a different frequency. A man who retains carries intensity in his eyes. His presence speaks louder than his words. Women notice. Men respect. Opportunities flow your way, not because you're trying harder, but because you've become magnetic. That's what happens when you stop wasting your seed. You stop wasting yourself, and you begin to build yourself. Throughout history, the most powerful men knew this. Warriors, monks, spiritual leaders, kings. They all spoke of conserving their vital energy. Why? Because they understood that true strength isn't just physical, it's energetic. When you hold on to your seed, you hold on to your essence. You're not just preserving fluid, you're preserving focus, drive, and clarity. You're telling the universe, I am serious about my mission. And confidence, that's just the byproduct. Think about it. How can you expect to dominate the outside world when you can even conquer your own urges? How can you lead others when you're a slave to your cravings? Semen retention flips that script. It puts you back in control. It reminds you that discipline is freedom, and that real masculinity isn't about indulgence, it's about restraint. Now let me be clear. This journey isn't easy. There will be urges. There will be moments of weakness. But every time you choose mastery over momentary pleasure, you evolve. Every time you say no to temptation, you say yes to greatness. And every day you retain, you get one step closer to your most powerful, confident self. So if you're wondering where your confidence went, or why you feel lost, anxious, or low on drive, look within. Maybe it's time to stop leaking your power. Maybe it's time to rise, because semen retention isn't just a practice, it's a path. A path to self-respect, a path to discipline, a path to unshakable, grounded, masculine confidence. And once you feel it, once you live it, there's no going back.